a vagabond with no God above. I've been looking for someone to throw a bone.
Hi, I'm Emily.
And I'm Joe, and we're Permanent Roadtrip.
Breathing in when a sudden look has struck my gently moving stream. What a strange way to decide on what to keep.
Prior to moving into this van, Joe spent 20 plus years pretty much in corporate finance, and I spent about the same amount of time in nonprofit. After 20 some years, we were each at pretty senior positions at our organizations. So when we made the decision to make this huge change, it was not just like kind of winding down jobs, but we sold a house, we sold a large majority of our stuff.
Every chance we got, we were getting out of town to go do something, go skiing, go mountain biking, go paddling. We were probably camping in a tent about 100 nights a year. It just made sense. We just thought, why not do it full time? And we thought, well, we don't want to take that tent up and down every night. So finally we decided we would do it. We looked for a couple years. We had a couple of them that we just missed. We finally found one. We spent about 6 months rehabbing it, turning it into a really cool little house, and we've been living in it for about 7 months now.
We made a concerted effort for probably 7 or 8 years. And it seemed like, if there's a time to do something with kind of an open-ended plan. We saved, we put everything in place to be able to do that. It was just time to pull the trigger.
But it's time I let it slide. Ooh, just need to dive in.
So we finally found this van. It was in South Bend, Indiana. It had been used by an audiovisual company to run speakers and sound equipment back and forth from South Bend to Chicago. It had 25,000 miles on it when we got it. One of the first things we did was we put these all-terrain tires on. They have been incredibly helpful. We skied all winter, no issues whatsoever. We did buy some Thule chains. We put them on once, but really just to figure out whether or not we could do it. Really didn't need it. These tires and the weight of the vehicle was plenty for all winter. One of the things we did was taking that bench seat out. That was a little bit more complicated than you might imagine. When you take a bench seat out, you have to buy the pedestal. You don't have to, but you're gonna want a swivel for sure. And then the seat. And we got a Sprint Ride seat, which is awesome. It's got about 3 inches of travel. There's an air compressor built right into it. Continuing down, this is our sink, and we've got a lot of stuff jammed in the sink. We've got our propane tank, which is a 6-pound cylinder. It's about 8 inches in diameter. That lasts us about 2 months, and we cook almost every meal on this camp stove. It's so fantastic. We never have to have the green bottles. We don't have to pay for them. We don't have to put them in the landfill. Definitely do one of these. People scare you about propane. Propane is super safe, especially if you're only powering things that you're turning on and off. Maybe a different story if you're powering a refrigerator or something 24/7, but the propane tank has a hand valve as well as a check valve. Secure it properly, you're gonna be fine. And we do take showers here using this EcoTemp shower. This is a very nice solution. If you're willing to put in the propane, it's really nice to be able to come out, take a shower anytime you want, as long as you can find a private place. Super easy solution for hot water. If it's raining or if it's wintertime and we're in the mountains, we have another surface up here we can put it on. We have our gray water discharge. So if you look down here, we have a little hatch. All we do is open this hatch, pull the gray water out, and discharge it into an appropriate place. Here we have our furnace put in underneath the passenger seat. That is a auxiliary valve straight from the diesel tank that powers the furnace. It takes about a half a gallon of diesel for 24 hours to keep the van nice and toasty all winter long. We have incredible insulation. We insulated the floor, the ceiling, the walls. We insulated the cab. We noticed on one of our first trips, some of the places had an amber light, and we realized that was because it doesn't draw bugs. So we wanted to put an amber light out here in front of the van for when we're sitting outside. Doesn't seem to draw bugs, which is awesome. That's what we were going for. But it doesn't really give enough light to cook on, so sometimes you have to pull the headlamp out too. Guys that helped me with the carpentry here did just a phenomenal job building this stuff out. We cut this big hole in the ceiling and put the fantastic fan vent in, that's awesome because it pulls air in or out, which is great because you can control how you're ventilating, which is really, really important in the winter when it's cold. When it's freezing cold, you want that thing to just pull in enough air to offset the hot air rising out, and that'll keep your condensation down and it'll keep your van from molding. That works really, really well in tandem with this C.R. Lawrence vented window. That is super helpful in terms of keeping the dog comfortable, whether it's hot or cold.
But I know, so would anyone.
So we are standing in our kitchen, which we spent a lot of time thinking about where we wanted everything arranged, and what we've ended up with works really well for our needs. And we have our sink here. This is just a regular bar sink. It's maybe a little bit bigger than what you might see in some other vans, so that is nice to have.
Don't you let that
And then we have our little medicine cabinet.
oh, no.
And then our bed is a full-size bed, and you might notice we have a little, we call it a bolster. It's actually like the last 8 to 9 inches of the bed. We cut the end off of the bed and then just made a little like pillow out of it basically. So it doubles as sitting up against something soft when you might be sitting in bed reading, but then also at night we can extend it across here and it makes a full-size bed. Our bed is set, and Joe will go into probably more details, lower than most vans, meaning from the ground, and ours is just 31. We maybe, if doing it over, would have raised it another couple of inches, maybe set it at 33 or 34. These cabinets right here, we have 4 cabinets, all seasons, everything is in these cabinets. I negotiated 2.5, and Joe has 1.5, and still has room to share there. This mountain scene was actually cut by a friend of ours in Cincinnati who has her own shop. Cut by laser, has a good smoky smell still to it 7 months in. Here we have 2 cabinet doors. We do have access to these cabinets from both inside and outside. When we have Ushi's little perch down as a bed, then it's nice that we have the second door because we can easily get everything we need to cook out of the bottom cabinets there. But what's great about her perch is it doubles as her bed, a stepping stool for us to get in. It's a storage bin as well. And when we drive, this thing goes on its end and it slides right in between the driver and the passenger seat.
You came in.
Here we have 2 appliances that we thought at the time were essential. We thought for sure we would be going to a campground and catching up on laundry and maybe a pool and showers and all that good stuff, but we plug in once a week. It turns out that's not what we've done at all. I think we've plugged in 3 times, and we've been on the road 7 months. So these are nice to haves, but certainly not necessary. Both of these we cannot power with the solar that we have dedicated circuits, so only when we plug in can we use these. Just below here is our fridge. This is super nice. It's 4.5 cubic feet. That is not bad at all. It feels roomy all the time. And then above the cabin seats, we had this overhead compartment. We use that to stuff our window shades and blinds. And
This is the spot where all of our recreation gear is. We didn't really want to have a whole bunch of stuff hanging off the van. We do have a few solar panels up top, and we have the fan vent, but they're pretty discreet, and that was important to us. We wanted to make sure that we didn't look like a camper. We have 300 watts of solar on the roof. We have 2 6-volt, 250 amp hour batteries. They're AGMs. We have a 2200 amp alternator. So if we're driving, we definitely have a lot more energy than we need. All of our stuff can easily fit right underneath the bed, even though, as Emily mentioned, we went 31 inches from the bottom of the floor up to our bed platform, which is much lower than most people go. And the reason why that is a constraint is that we're on 26-inch rims, and you can see we are just about maxed out. So if we ever decide to go to 27.5, it might be a little tight trying to get them in there. But we were able to get both of our bikes, our helmets, our shoes, our water bottles, our everything that you could need for biking on that one drawer. And that's a big part of what we do, so that's why we dedicated so much space. Getting into our water, we have a 25-gallon freshwater tank that is pretty easy to fill. Just pull this off, open the valve, open the vent, and fill from this side. That goes straight to our sink. We've got a SureFlow water pump that'll pump 5.5 gallons per minute. We've got a 7-gallon gray water tank. Ventilation is one of the most important things in vans, and if you don't vent that gray water tank, you're gonna pop your seal. We were smart enough, or at least the guys that helped me build this were smart enough to tell me that I needed at least one drawer that opened this way. So probably my favorite thing about this van is the double doors. We have access to our food pantry from both sides of the van, which makes it so much easier at the grocery store. We can vent our refrigerator. We have storage for shoes. It's just awesome.
Oh, no, darling.
We probably used to go out to eat 4 or 5 nights a week. And just by making like a minor change there, you know, maybe it's once a week. Just those little minor things that you can do, it's unbelievable how quickly things can just allow you to save. So 7 or 8 years that we really knew we were saving for something. We were very intentional about it.
Would I rather spend 40 or 50 bucks, or would I rather have 40 or 50 bucks next year when I'm on the road so that I can extend this experience longer? And we did that for a really long time. And we got so good at it, we started making a game out of it, buying the Amazon gift cards at the grocery store that would give me points for fuel, and I would use my credit card so I could get extra, percent off. And you start pulling all those things out, and next thing you know, you start to save a lot of money, and it's gonna make your experience a whole lot more fun. Focus on what it is that's important to you. I see a lot of guys just kind of going with the flow, doing whatever. And I think if you live more deliberately and say, this is what's important to me, this is where I'm going to spend my time, my resources, my money, and if I want to get to this place and do something like this, the best way to do it is just to take all that other stuff out. Don't spend your time on it, and spend your time getting to that place you want to get to. That's what I'd recommend.